Hi there, my name is Camden Rice, and this is my website audit for feedingamerica.org. So, an introduction to website accessibility. Ensuring that a website is accessible means that the website, tools, and technology is designed so that everyone, including people with disabilities, is able to properly use and navigate through the system. Web accessibility not only benefits those with disabilities, but also those without them, including those with changing abilities, temporary disability, and situal limitations. To test the accessibility of Feeding America, we will focus on ensuring it meets the guidelines of WCAG 2.1 at the AA conformance level. WCAG 2.1 guidelines are also organized around 4 core principles known as POUR. POUR stands for perceivable, operable, understandable, and robust. Perceivable refers to that components must be presented in ways that users can perceive. Operable means user interface components and navigation must be operable. Understandable means information and the operation of the user interface must be understandable. And robust means content must be robust enough to be interpreted reliably by a wide variety of user agents. A website meeting the AA conformance level means that it has strong accessibility and goes further than just having the basic requirements. Some examples of the AA conformance level criteria include having captions for live media and audio descriptions for pre-recorded media, having a contrast at a ratio of at least 4.5 to 1, content organization with clear headings and the content is in logical order, it is predictable in appearance and operation, and accessibility supported through assistive technologies. To test Feeding America's web accessibility, I will use a mix of automated and manual testing methods. These methods include, for automated, WAVE, which stands for Web Accessibility Evaluation Tool, and Landmark. WAVE helps identify accessibility issues on a web page and offers guidance for addressing those barriers. WAVE provides a variety of feedback, including code errors, contrast errors, and alerts for potential code concerns. They also highlight the positive, including the assistive features that it recognizes, evaluate structural elements, and ARIA elements as well. Landmark identifies the organization and structure of a web page to allow blind users using a screen reader to have the ability to jump to sections of a web page. For manual testing methods, I will test keyboard navigation, screen reader, and magnification. Keyboard navigation will ensure that the website is able to be navigated in all areas using only the keyboard for those with mobility impairments. The main keys on the keyboard that I will be testing to test the functionality of Feeding America will be the tab button, the up and down arrows, and the return/enter button. For screen reader, it converts digital text into synthesized speech for blind and visually impaired people. I will ensure that screen reader reads each portion of Feeding America's page and describes each text, image, and button properly. Magnification zooms in on the screen by a percentage. For the purpose of this test, I will do 200% to improve accessibility and readability for people with low vision. For magnification, I will ensure that the website stays structural through the magnification and that I can still access each portion of the page and it is still readable. So with automated testing, I found a few consistent accessibility issues. With WAVE, I found that there was a low contrast issue, specifically on the Take Action page. On the first image on the right here, I have circled where it highlighted a low contrast issue where it says Chelsea, Massachusetts on this image of a woman. It is very hard to see even for me, and this would be even harder to see for those with low visibility. There was also a broken same page link issue. This is a link to another page that is present but does not have a corresponding target. This matters because a link to jump to another position within a page assists users in navigating the web page, but only if the link target exists. In the second screenshot here, the orange square represents that broken same page link issue. There is also suspicious text link issues. This refers to text that may not make sense out of context, like click here or learn more buttons. This text should clearly describe the destination or function of the link and not cause confusion. On each page of Feeding America's website, there are multiple click here and learn more buttons that could be taken with suspicion out of context. There are also multiple redundant links. These are adjacent links that goes to the same URL, resulting in additional navigation and repetition for keyboard and screen reader users. There is also occasional missing alternative text. This means that people who use screen readers cannot understand what an image is because there is no text describing it. In the same image where I described the broken same page link, this red image icon here represents that missing alternative text. Lastly, there is hidden/broken ARIA elements. ARIA refers to Accessible Rich Internet Applications, which are attributes to link elements on a web page to provide additional semantic information for assistive technologies. Content with ARIA elements that are broken or hidden do not generate content for screen reader users to hear. I had this issue pop up when I was testing the voiceover, which I will talk more about later. For landmarks, I found that there were 4 landmarks that were categorized: main, banner, navigation, and content information. Some issues I found with the landmarks is that the buttons at the very top of the feedingamerica.org page were not considered navigation, and content information, which typically is information on copyright, webmaster, contact, and policy information, included multiple links to go to other pages, which I would consider more navigation than content information. On this next slide, I will describe more about that landmark findings. So on the left here is where it highlights content information on the bottom of the page. While you can see that there is copyright information and contact information, all of this content right here are links that go to other pages. This can be confusing for people with screen readers or voiceover to understand, and since this content is so jammed packed with information, it can be hard and cause cognitive overload. On the right here, I have circled where there is navigation that is not considered navigation by landmark. Navigation is considered these 5 actions here: Hunger in America, Our Work, Take Action, Find a Food Bank, and Blog. While these actions do lead to other pages on feedingamerica.org, so do these up here in the circled Reddit area. Search, Need Help, Sign Up, and Donate are all links that lead to other pages on feedingamerica.org. For accessibility issues with manual testing, this is where I started to run into many issues that anyone could run into. For the keyboard navigation, the tab button only highlighted the YouTube video, email, and zip code text boxes. The rest of the information on feedingamerica.org got skipped over. This includes any of the tabs that lead to other pages, any of the Learn More or Give Now, Click Here buttons, or any information that could be read by users. The up and down buttons did work, and so did the enter buttons when it did tab onto those YouTube videos, email, and zip code text boxes. For screen reader, it did not read highlighted buttons correctly, only the second word, such as now or more. In this screenshot here, I circled the buttons that it did not read correctly, and this has to do with that ARIA hidden content. If I go back here, you can see in the screenshot on the bottom where I circled, this purple icon here where it says Learn More is that hidden ARIA element. Magnification did work as intended, and the website was being navigated correctly. So through my website audit using automated and manual testing, I can make a few recommendations for Feeding America. Feeding America should consider a few things to have their website comply with WCAG/WA standards, including ensuring that the website is fully accessible through using the keypad. Since I was only able to use the up and down buttons to access the information, I can only stay on the home page and nothing else, making Feeding America's website basically inaccessible to those who use keyboard navigation. They should also test VoiceOver to see if each detail is read out correctly. This means that there should be no code that equals area/hidden equals true. This means that the code parts of the code that have this area ARIA / hidden equals true code in it will not be read out when using VoiceOver. They should also review the code thoroughly to make sure that there is no missing or broken /text links. As I said, there were some images that were missing that alternative text, which means that people using VoiceOver will not be able to understand what the image is without that alternative text. They should also ensure that landmarks are labeled correctly, including having that top navigation with the search, the donate now, the learn more at the very top be considered navigation. They should also remove and reduce any redundant links or text to avoid confusion, and provide a more consistent layout to the website that makes it easier to navigate. In conclusion, while the Feeding America website meets a majority of the WCAG standards found through automated testing, manual testing shows flaws in its functionality / usability. With the website not being accessible through keyboard navigation and VoiceOver not working properly, this leaves many users with mobility and visual disabilities without a way to navigate through the content. Through my automated and manual testing, I was able to make recommendations for the website to improve its accessibility, including making keyboard navigation an option, checking code to ensure accessibility tools work, there is no broken / missing code, and reducing repetitive and redundant text by reducing the amount of information on a given page. By considering these recommendations and consulting with the WCAG 2.1 guidelines at the AA conformance level, Feeding America can ensure that their website is inclusive to everyone. And these are my references I used. Thank you for listening to my presentation.